This month we're exploring the Swiss Army knife of cast-on techniques, the Crochet Cast-On. As always, if you'd like to jump directly to a specific point in the video, there are direct links down in the description. When it comes to knitting techniques, it's very common to be able to choose from a variety of techniques to get to the same ending point. Now, this is true of cast-on methods as well. There are different categories of cast-on methods. In many cases, you need to start at an edge that is distinctly different from the stitches that lie above it. But in other cases, you don't want that distinction to be made, and you want the stitches to appear to just roll from one side of the fabric to another. In still other situations, you don't want to start at an edge at all. You want to start somewhere in the middle of the fabric and work your way out without that starting point being visible. And sometimes you may need to start from the center of a circle in order to work your way out from there. Now, in each of these different scenarios, you have at least a half a dozen choices, sometimes several dozen choices, for how to start. Any technique that you are able to use in one cast-on scenario isn't necessarily usable in every other scenario. The crochet cast-on is an exception. Its chain construction is what makes it so versatile. Each week this month, I'll be demonstrating a different way of using the crochet cast-on to start your project. This week, I'm going to demonstrate the basic crochet cast-on method for starting a project at an edge. Let's get started. This may or may not be obvious, but you are going to need a crochet hook when you do your crochet cast-on. Now, I'm using worsted weight yarn, a size 7 needle, and which is 4.5 millimeters, and the hook is the same size. It's a G hook that's 4.5 millimeters. So these are identical in size. Now you can adjust the stretchiness of your edge by going up or down on needle and crochet hook sizes. So if you want to swatch just like you would for your project, I'm sure you always swatch for your project, you can experiment with that and see what kind of edge you like with different hook and needle combinations. When I'm using a crochet hook, I start a slip knot by having the tail dangle down the front of my palm. I wrap a loop of yarn around a couple of fingers, and then I cross the working yarn over that tail. I take the hook, it comes under that loop, and then I can just grab the working yarn through there. So I have a slip knot. Again, you can do it any way you want. The important thing is that when you pull on the working yarn end, that's what tightens up the loop. So you don't want to tighten it up too much. You want to leave a little bit of space here because you're going to be pulling the hook through that loop. So you need to have it loose enough to be able to do that. Next thing you do is you pick up your needle, and the working yarn comes behind the needle. And then you can tension the yarn however you like in your left hand. I tend to do it like this, but because that's how I do it when I knit, but there are a lot of ways of doing it. Now what you're going to want to do is put some tension on the yarn. It's just loose right now. So we're going to hold the tail against the needle so that you can manipulate the hook and yarn and not be flying all over the place like this. Okay, to get started, the working yarn is behind the needle and the hook crosses in front. The hook crosses in front to hook that working yarn. You notice I'm coming under it like this, and now I'm going to pull it through the loop that's on the crochet hook. As I get closer to that loop, I'm going to rotate the hook downward so that I can pull it through that loop easily. So now I have one stitch on the needle. I'm going to take the working yarn, wrap it around the back side of the needle, and then I'm going to be ready to do the second stitch. So the hook is in front, the yarn is in back. I come under the working yarn with my hook, rotate the head as I pull it through the loop. Now I have two. So I'm going to keep repeating this, bringing the yarn behind the needle. The hook comes and crosses in front to grab that yarn. and you keep repeating. So I need 10 stitches, and so I want to keep repeating this until I have 9 on the needle. So I have 3 now, 4, 5, 6. So now I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So I have 9 stitches. Once again, I bring the yarn behind, and the 10th loop will be the one that is on the hook. So I place it on the hook. I can tighten up a little bit, not too much. And now I've completed the cast on. And you can see how you have a crochet chain here along the edge. And from here, you can just work your first row of your pattern, knitting however you would normally knit. So that is the basic crochet cast on method. Most cast on methods don't have a matching bind off. And one of the nice things about the crochet cast on is that there are a couple of choices for bind offs that match it pretty well, including the standard chain bind off. If you have any questions or comments about this video or suggestions for future videos that you'd like to see me make, you can make those down in the comments below, or you can join the discussion over at my Ravelry group, Rocks, and there's a link to that down in the description. If you're watching this video in the first week it was posted, you won't be able to see all of the other videos in this series yet, but eventually there will be a playlist right here that you can click on to see the entire series. In the meantime, if you'd like to see any of my past cast on videos, there's another playlist right here. Thanks for watching, and please click on my face to subscribe.